From the fall in oil prices to the various steps taken by Nigerian government to cushion the effects of the COVID-19, how will they all play out on the commodities market space? Let's talk to Desola Sumoni, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. Hello, Desola. Good morning. I hope you're keeping safe from COVID-19.
Hi, Chiweze. Good morning. Yes, I am. Following
Very
government
good.
advice.
Anyway, the federal government yesterday adjusted petrol pump price to now sell at about 125 naira per litre. What will this mean for the average Nigerian?
Well, it means, first of all, more bang for your buck. Means that for every liter of petrol you buy, you save 20 naira, and this means that your disposable income increases. Technically, you can use that extra money to buy some other commodities. So that's positive effect. On the other hand, we see the knock-on effect of this reduction in petrol price on other commodities prices because prices generally are downwards, which means that they are very quick to increase, but they are slower to reduce. So I think that while it's positive in the sense of having extra disposable income, prices are not going to reduce significantly, at least in the short term.
On the other hand, what does it also mean for marketers in terms of their profit margin?
I think petrol marketers will make profits even at 125 liters per liter, 125 naira per liters. I mean, based on some back of the envelope calculation, using the last template on the PPPRA website, I deducted that even if the petrol prices were reduced to as low as 115, marketers will still make a profit. But this reduction raises a lot of questions, and one of the question is oil prices in the global market declined by 50%, but we are seeing petrol prices decline by 15%. That's why is that there? Why is that discrepancy? And one of the reasons for this discrepancy is that the allowing is this theory about old stock. That the petrol marketers currently have, I think, old stock that can last for about 40 days. So allowing them to sell at such at 125, allows them to cover some of their losses. But currently, I think that they still make petrol marketers will still make a profit at current levels. But the other questions that the federal government made mention about a modulation mechanism. Does this equal to deregulation? At what exchange rates is being used? I mean, I suspect they are going to use the parallel market rate or the IEFX rate. But all these questions remain answered. But overall, I think this is a step in the right direction. But there's still a lot of details to work out.
Now, my last guest said that the federal government should expect the federal government to use the opportunity of this falling oil price to probably deregulate the sector. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I concur. I mean, it brings us to the issue of subsidy. This has been a very, very heated and very, very hot topic over the past couple of years. So this a lot of analysts suggest that this provides an excellent opportunity to deregulate the downstream oil sector, and so that it can be more reflective of realities in the global markets rather than artificially keeping prices fixed.
All right. Also, yesterday, the federal government placed travel bans on passengers from 13 countries with over 1,000 cases of coronavirus. Is this ban sufficient? And also, it announced a border closure. What would be the implication of these for the commodities market?
First, this is in line with global reactions to the coronavirus pandemic. But for Nigeria, I think yes, the effects can be looked at from positive and negative side. On the positive side, well, it's good in the sense that it will help reduce the spread of the virus, and this is particularly important because the healthcare system. There's a lot of talk about the fragility of the healthcare system, the low doctor to patient ratio, and things like that. So it will help protect the population, protect the fragile healthcare sector. Even here in the UK, the healthcare system is supposed to be developed countries. It's struggling to cope with this pandemic, this coronavirus coronavirus pandemic. So it will help, protect the population, help reduce the spread, and help prevent a lockdown. Here already in the UK, country is on lockdown. London is on lockdown. There's this economic activity is taking a beating. So it's help prevent that in Nigeria. But on the negative side, we are closing borders to some of Nigeria's biggest trade partner, talking about the US, the UK, China, India, countries like that. So this also has significant implications for trade. That has implications for investment. It also has implications for technical expertise. So I think the effect of this is no economic activity is going to take a beating, trade is going to take a beating, investment activities also going to take a beating, and also projects, large infrastructural projects, construction of bridges, roads, rails, in which we have a lot of these Chinese workers supervising, Chinese companies supervising, is also going to take a beating. They could, the best case scenario, to be delayed, but in the worst case scenario, these projects could be cancelled totally.
Again, the central bank announced a 1.1 trillion naira to support the manufacturing sector. What is your take on this, and how can this support local production?
Um, I have mixed views on this, but I think that again, it is still, I'll say that it is still in line with what central banks are doing globally. We are seeing loosening monetary policy globally, and also expansionary fiscal policy, to try to cushion the effect of this coronavirus on economic activity. So in the case of Nigeria, I think that it's positive in the sense that it's aligns with this idea of increasing credit to the private sector. This also aligns with this idea of the loan deposit ratio, which was aimed at increasing credit to the real sectors of the economy. But my concern is that in the short run, production is not going to increase significantly, because to my knowledge, many of these manufacturers are already producing at close to capacity. So injecting 1.1 trillion, which I know that 100 billion, I think, is for healthcare sector, which is positive, to prepare for the event of a mass outbreak of the pandemic in Nigeria. Preparing what's the word now, testing kits and the likes, just to be proactive. So I think that is positive. But for the manufacturing, I don't see how. My understanding is that in the short run, production will not increase significantly. But again, it is still in line with what is happening globally. Trying to stimulate consumption, stimulate demand, and stimulate local production as well. And this is and stimulate local production as well. Yeah.
All right, looking at the oil side, we heard the federal government announce yesterday that they're slashing the oil benchmark to $30 a barrel. Do you see this as realistic at this time, considering the drop on oil prices?
I think, first of all, it's a step in the right direction. I mean, leaving the benchmark at $57 per barrel is unrealistic. That would be the unrealistic option, because right now, given the situation in the global markets, it seems like a horror movie, and unfortunately, we are actors in this horror movie, and we cannot see the end. First of all, demand from China reduced significantly because of coronavirus. Now, with a lot of European countries are locking down. Just yesterday, Belgium also closed down its borders, put the whole country on shutdown. This is also affecting, demand for oil. So, and this is also coming at a time, when Saudi Arabia and Russia, they are locked in, price wars, and Saudi Arabia promised to flood the market with oil in April. So all these factors together are now pushing oil prices down, and I think they're going to remain low in the near term. So in the light of that, it is positive that the central bank, the federal government, slashed budgets to reflect the realities in the global markets.
Now, given the slump in oil prices and, of course, the hemorrhage in the external reserves, how do you think the central bank's unorthodox FX policy will evolve?
I think it comes down to the ammunition of the central bank, right? So this comes down to the external reserves, and these external reserves, like you said, have taken a beating. also all receipts are taking a beating. So I think that at this time, because the central bank is of the view that the exchange rate is very critical to the economy. It's critical to anchoring inflation. It's also critical to stimulating growth. So I think that the central bank over time have expressed their preferences for defending the exchange rate at all costs. So I think that is the path that the central bank is going to pursue at this time, to continue to try to provide some form of stability or confidence that they are still able to defend the exchange rate, to keep it stable at 360 per dollar in the parallel market, using the external reserves and using all kind of conventional and unconventional monetary policy tools in that toolbox. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think the central bank is going to aggressively utilize all the tools within its disposal, both conventional and unconventional, to try to stabilize the exchange rate.
Well, the MPC is meeting next week. What do you expect to hear?
Wow, so this is very tough. Right? The MPC is meeting at a very very tough time where global supply chains are taking a beating. Countries are going on mass lockdown. Like this is unprecedented. And I think what the key considerations for the MPC would be how does this what is going on in the global market, how is it going to affect the Nigerian economy, and how can they cushion the Nigerian economy against the negative impact on economic activity, on trade, investments, and the likes. And one of the ways is through the external factor. Right now, we are seeing double shocks both on the demand side and on the supply side. On the supply side, because these producing countries are not able to produce, they're not able to supply, they're not able to export because of the coronavirus. And on the demand side, people are not buying also because of the demand side, and this is affecting Nigeria, which depends heavily on oil. So the central bank, I think, at this time, they're going to consider, first of all, the effect on exchange rate, but also inflation. Inflation is increasing. It has increased consecutively for the sixth consecutive month. It's about 12.2% now, and I think some empirical research shows that inflation at 12.2%, is inimical to growth in Nigeria. So I think the central bank, they're in a very, very critical and stressed position where, while trying to stimulate the economy, while trying to cushion the effect of what is happening, the slump in global economic activity. They're also trying to anchor inflation and keep the exchange rate stable. So I think it's a very very difficult position that the central bank are in. But I think that taking all factors into consideration, I think they'll make the right decision.
Well, we can only wait to hear what they have to say. Anyway, just before I let you go, a quick one. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Saudi-Russia price war, what is your outlook for oil prices in the near term?
Chimeze, all bets are off right now. All bets are off, right? Let's like what is happening. Demand is taking a beating. Like I said earlier, European countries which also used to demand oil heavily, they're shutting down, which is also taking off demand now. Also, reducing the demand for oil. And note that before the start of the year, there was already like a supply glut in the market, and OPEC Plus was trying to increase their production cuts to manage that. So there was already that. Then now demand is even taking further beating, and supply is increasing because of this price wars between OPEC and Russia.
Bonnie, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company, thank you for your time.